In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can improve your animations visually with 3 easy steps without learning any new skills. So stay tuned. Hey friend, my name is Ion and welcome to my Start Animating YouTube channel, the channel that is specifically aimed at everyone that is new to animation. And if that is you, welcome, you are at the right place. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also click on that little notification bell so that you can get notified every week when I upload a brand new video. And if you are new to animation and you don't know where to begin, well, I have some good news. I created the Animation Startup Guide, and in this guide I list all the different types of softwares that you're going to need with links so that you can click on it and just get all the information, the specs, the prices, maybe download trial versions and play around. So this guide consists of 2D animation software, 3D animation software, other softwares like script writing and storyboarding, as well as a list of well-known drawing tablet brands as well. So everything you're going to need in order to start your animation journey is in this guide. So if you want that guide, in the description box below, there's a link. Just click there and I will send that guide to you. And just before I start, just another advert, if I may. Next week, Friday, I am hosting another free webinar. And this webinar is basically to help you start your first animation. So this is basically if you want to create a film or this is for a complete beginner. This is not for someone who's a seasoned animator and who wants to create his own animation. He's also welcome, but this is for someone who's just starting out. So this webinar is for you. In the description, just click there and you can register. It is absolutely free. And remember, next week, Friday, I hope I will see all of you there. So if you want to start creating your own animation projects, a short form, a web, like a web series, whatever, if you want to get going and you don't know where to begin, where to start, this webinar is for you. So I hope to see you there. So today we are going to look at 3 easy things that you can implement today that will visually improve the look and feel of your animation. So I'm not talking about having to learn new animation skills, having to practice certain things like squash and stretch and timing and all of those things. All of those things will improve your animations. But I'm talking about 3 things you can implement today to make your animations simply look so much better. Okay, so the first one or the first step is uniformity in style. Now this sounds so stupid, like common sense, but believe me, a lot of new animators make this mistake, and that is that especially those who can't draw or in 3D animation can't model or sculpt, they are relying on purchasing characters and backgrounds, so they can only use what is available to them. They can't draw their own things. And so what happens is like a mix and match of styles in their animations, and it just doesn't look that good. So for example, in 2D animation, let's say you want a police character and you want a doctor in your animation. So now you go and you purchase from 2 different artists, and now if you add them together in your scene, the artistic styles don't match. It just doesn't look like these 2 characters belong in the same story. And the same with 3D animation. If you look at these 2 characters, the one is from Frozen, the other one is from Despicable Me. Both are 3D rigged characters, but you can see they artistically they look completely different. They don't look like they belong in the same story. So make sure there's uniformity in your character design, so that all your characters look like they belong in the same place. And talking about belonging in the same place, the same goes for your backgrounds. Your characters need to look like they belong in the world that you've created for them. So if we look at this image on the left-hand side, you have the Simpsons in their living room. and it just looks like they belong there because artistically the characters match the background. Okay. And if you look at the other one, it just doesn't match. Even though the background looks way better than the other one, the real background from The Simpsons, it just artistically, it just doesn't match. Okay. So make sure that the entire artistic look of your animation is consistent throughout. Your characters all look kind of the same. I always use The Simpsons as an example because it is like they've created this whole world. All the characters look like they have the same artistic style, and it looks like they belong in the world in Springfield. And it just looks right. So if you can get your characters to look all similar, and you can get your not they look the same, but you know what I mean. Artistically, the artistic style should be the same. There can be different shapes and sizes, but artistically, there's some uniformity and consistency in the characters, and then they should also belong in the background, in the world you've created. So there should be like a uniformity in style. So that is the first thing. If you can do that, your animation will already look so much better and more professional. Then tip number 2, storytelling using the camera. Okay, so this is filmmaking 101. If you want to become a storyteller through film or even animation, because that is the same format, is visual storytelling, you need to understand how to tell stories using the camera. So I'm going to give you just a few examples just to illustrate what I'm trying to say. Okay, the first one is cinematography. So cinematography is where you can basically tell a story by just having a screenshot of a moment in your film. Like, for example, here in Up from Pixar. Just by looking at this image, there's no dialogue, there's no characters, but by looking at this image, it tells a story. Remember that saying, an image image can tell is worth 1,000 words. That's it. An image is worth 1,000 words. That is basically what you want to achieve. If you're going to just pause your animation and if you just look at that screenshot, does it tell you something? Can the audience read something from that still shot, that screenshot of your animation? That is cinematography. You want to tell the story just by looking at the image. For example, this image in Up House, it just tells you so much about the story just by looking at it. So the first one is cinematography. Then the second one is camera angles. Okay, camera angles can really enhance your storytelling. For example, I've got 2 images here. They're not from the same movie, but you can imagine the first shot is of the 2 guys and the camera is showing downwards and it makes them look so much smaller. And then the second camera shot is looking upwards and it makes the character looks so much big. So when you do your animation and you've got your 2 heroes fighting a big enemy, you can use camera angles by making the task these 2 superheroes have in front of them, it just looks so much bigger. Okay, it looks like this is not going to be an easy fight just by looking at these 2 images. By using camera angles, it helps to tell the story so much better. And so camera angles is a great way to do it. So how do you get better in telling your stories visually? With camera angles, with cinematography, and that is with storyboarding. Now, storyboarding, if you know me, I absolutely hate storyboarding. It's the worst part for me when it comes to the animation pipeline, but it is the most crucial part. Okay, so that is where you kind of envision what your story should look like, what your camera should do. And if you just look at this first block here, you can actually see they're also using the camera angle facing upwards to help tell the story. Okay, so that is the second one, just to help tell your story just a little bit better. Okay, and then tip number 3, and that is to create depth. Okay, so this can really just help make your animation don't look so flat. Okay, because if you skip this part, your animation can look very flat. So let me give you examples again. Okay, so the first one when it comes to 3D animation is you can use depth of field. Okay, so what this is this is actually comes from photography. So you focus on something and then the background is blurred. Okay, so if you look here, the main character is in focus, but the trees is blurred. Okay, so that creates a depth of field and it makes that your image doesn't look flat, and it also makes the world look a lot bigger than what it actually is. Okay, so it really helps the visually your animation to look bigger and better and not flat. Okay, but this is 3D animation. It's very easy to achieve this in 3D animation. What about 2D animation? You can't create depth in 2D animation because everything is flat. Well, what you do is you need to create foreground, middle ground, and background. So in this image, you can see the foreground is very dark. It is in the foreground. Then you've got your middle ground, and then you have your background. And that way, you create a lot more depth in your image. And just a rule of thumb is the further away something gets, the lighter it becomes. Okay, so that's why same image, what is close is a lot dark and what's far is a lot lighter. Is also how they illustrated this concept. Now, let's look at it from a movie. And one of my favorite movies of all time is Klaus. And someone mentioned in a previous video of mine that Klaus is not a 2D animation form. It is a 3D animation form. And no, it is not. It is a 2D animation form. If you want, you can go to Spa Studios YouTube channel. Believe me, I've watched almost all the videos on how they created Klaus, and it is actually a 2D animation form, hand drawn. So in this image, you can see again foreground. You can see these characters, these kids. Then you've got this character. I think his name is Jasper in the middle ground, and then you can see the background also very light, and then the foreground very dark. But they also, what they did here is depth of field. You can see the foreground is blurred and then the main character is in focus. So they've also used depth of field, but with 2D animation, how to create depth in your scenes is you use foreground, middle ground, and background separation. And you can achieve that with parallax backgrounds. If you know what parallax is, it is just you create your scene in levels and you separate them, and it creates like a 3D environment, and your characters can walk in front or walk behind certain objects. So in this case, this main character can be behind these two kids' characters on the side, but it is in front of the door or the background. So it's like a parallax effect. And that is how you can create depth in your 2D animation so that your environments look so much bigger. So those are the 3 things. So if I could just quickly summarize it, the one is uniformity and style. So make sure the characters, they all have the same artistic style, and they also artistically match your background. So it looks like one artistic feel for your animation. The second one, storytelling using your camera. That is cinematography, camera angles, etc. And to achieve that, you use storyboarding to plan out your scenes beforehand, and then finally create depth in your scenes. And you do that with depth of field, with 3D animation, and then with 2D animation, you can use the parallax effects by having a foreground, middle ground, and a background. So guys, I really hope this video was helpful to help you improve your animations visually without needing to learn any new animation skills to do so. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also click on that thumbs up. It really helps the YouTube algorithms. And I hope to see you next week, Friday, for my live webinar. So if you want to learn how to start your own animation project, whatever it is, a short film, full feature film, a web series, an animation series, whatever you want to do, if you are new to animation and you don't know how to get going, this webinar is for you. But also, if you are a seasoned animator and you want to start off your first animation project, you are also more than welcome. You will also learn quite a lot from this webinar. So guys, that is it for me. I will see you guys next week with another video. So God bless and happy animating.